Franklin D. Roosevelt once said, and I quote it, "The only limit to our realization of tomorrow are our doubts of today." Hey there, curious mind, you just tuned to the Sot Banat Podcast, a gateway to amplifying the voices of the girl child. I am your host, Angeth Kev Den, and my co-host is
Monica Iman. On this episode, we'll be having an important conversation on building confidence. They say that self-confidence is a superpower. Once you start believing in yourself, magic starts happening. Today, we'll speak on why confidence matters for young girls, as many struggle to speak up for themselves. But with the right mindset and support, they can be able to embrace their voices and lead with courage. Joining us today is a young woman who is passionate about leading women, empowering women and young girls. Today, we have Miss Sarah Atoj with us. Welcome to the Sot Banat Podcast. So please, Sarah, could you please introduce yourself and tell us what you do?
I am a journalist by profession and by passion, and I work in the space of women empowerment, like you had said before.
Yeah.
I am CEO for Oxygen TV and co-founder. I'm also the founder for Inspire My Sister Initiative, which is a girl-child uplifting platform, and a lot more. I'm passionate about singing, writing, and so much more.
Oh, that's so inspiring.
It's amazing.
So since today's topic is about confidence, in your own perception, what do you think confidence is?
Perfect. I think before I would define what confidence is, I would love to start by defining self-esteem, because to be confident, you ought to have self-esteem. It starts with how you see and view yourself.
Yeah.
So self-esteem is how you see yourself,
Okay.
what you feel about yourself.
Mhm.
If you stood in the mirror this morning and you looked at yourself, how did you feel while you were looking at yourself? And what did you see in the mirror? Did you see a beautiful person? Did you see a bright, smart, intelligent person, or the opposite? So basically, how you feel about yourself is what drives your confidence. Confidence comes from what we feel and see about ourselves.
In your own perception, what do you think confidence is, and how do you define it in your own life as Sarah Atoj?
Well, I think it's not something you develop overnight.
True.
It's a gradual process where you discover yourself. You're learning new things about yourself. You're also building self-esteem. So the more you build on your self-esteem is the more confident you get, because of how you feel comfortable with yourself, with your flaws. Of course, it's not always the good things that you have to accept about yourself. We also have to accept weaknesses.
That's true.
And that helps us to learn. When you accept your weaknesses, that means you're allowing space for you to be able to learn. So that is how I have been able to build on my personal journey of confidence. I can't say I was really always confident. I was completely the opposite of what I am right now.
Oh, that's perfect.
And I think growing up in a society that suppresses girls to a stereotype of you cannot speak when visitors are here, you cannot do this and you cannot do that. A typical South Sudanese household, that shaped me to be a very naive young woman who assumed I never had a say or a voice in the community or in the society.
All right.
But I guess over time, when you have a voice, it has to come out.
It has
When
to.
you have something that burns inside of you, it will burn until you allow it to come outside.
That's right.
And when you allow it to come out, and then that's when it shines. It
yeah.
burns on the outside. People see it evidently. So I think the passion inside of me was always burning, and I wanted to discover it.
Okay.
So for you to be able to develop confidence, you have to fight a self-battle. Should I do this or not? Should I say this or not? You wage an internal war, and your choices is what helps you to step up on the ladder of building your confidence.
That's true. When was one of the times you felt so confident, and what triggered that feeling?
Well, I think that's a lot of situations, honestly speaking.
All right.
But I could share something that maybe people could relate with.
Yeah.
I was doing physiotherapy.
Okay.
And it was not my personal choice.
Okay.
It was attached to expectations of family, I can say so.
All right.
Something to do with a career that suits a young woman
Okay.
in my space. But I've always wanted to be a journalist. But it came with so much stereotype that my family were scared for me, because you know the context of what it means to be a journalist. It was not the best choice.
Propagandas were so many.
Exactly. So I just aligned with the vision they had for me. But I
Okay.
personally felt like I did not fit in the career.
Okay.
I did physiotherapy for about 3 years. I can say in my third semester, in my third year, first semester, I felt like I was not cut for this. This is not for me. I don't belong here.
Okay.
And every time we went to practicals at the hospital, I knew this is not for me. I don't belong here.
Okay.
And I knew I had to be confident to follow my heart, my passion, and make a decision as a young person and tell my parents, hey, I know what you guys want for me is good.
Yeah.
I know you guys love me and you want what's best for me.
That's right.
But as far as you can see, I also have a different vision for my life. And this is not what I want for myself.
Okay.
Imagine quitting in third year. It's quite disappointing
Yeah,
for your family.
very.
It's quite disappointing for everybody. So I made up my mind and I said, I don't belong here. I'm going to look for what I love and what I'm passionate about.
Okay.
So I dropped out of my physiotherapy career. I pursued diploma in journalism.
Okay.
And I'm stepping up on the ladder, upgrading my certificates, building on my passion and my skills. And it's opening doors for me and opportunities for me. And of course, when you love something, you grow creatively in the space.
That's
There
right.
is no limit
That's
as long
true.
as you are in the right space. You flourish and blossom as much as you can. So that was a decision I made out of confidence because I believed in myself and I
Okay.
believed that that voice inside of me is right. So I needed to exercise the right,
Okay.
even if it was against my
Your
parents' will.
family. Yeah.
So if any other girl, any other young girl could be in the same shoes as you were, like being forced to do a career that is not part of their hobby or something, what could be the best advice you give to them?
Okay, it starts with defining who you are and what you love.
Okay.
And of course, career choice is a big thing for every person.
True.
And career choice is driven by who you are, your passions, your skills, because we have inborn skills, but we also have skills that we get to learn outside here in the civic space, at school, and all this. So take your time to understand yourself. Sometimes we want to assume that by the time I'm done with high school is when I have to figure out what I'm
Yeah.
going to be in the future and things like that. But I think the earlier the better. The earlier you study yourself, the better.
Okay.
That will help you define your choices, career choices, and things like that. Secondly is, of course, listening to yourself, that inner man, your intuition. It never lies. It's very strong. And when you listen to your intuition, of course, God gives everybody their own intuition. Your parents have their own, your friends have their own, but I also have my own. And it could be completely different from each other's. But listen to yourself. Listening to yourself is believing in yourself. Like, you don't know what tomorrow holds for you. You don't know what the future has for you. But you believe that that voice on the inside of you is a glimmer or is a spark for something that is bright for the future. So listen to yourself, pick the right role models, the right people that will give you the right advice, pick people that give you inspiration and glimmers in the right direction. Because we live in a society where anybody outside there or in the light seems to be inspiring, but I want to say it's not really all about the views, the follows, the platform, the content, but it's about what values are aligned to you. Every single person has their own values, and as women, we are strongly attached to values. Like the way you carry yourself, the way you conduct yourself, things that align to your faith, if you're a Christian or a Muslim, whatever religion it is, and also your upbringing from your home, from your family, and what you want to achieve and accomplish in the future. So if you look at these items, and then you're able to find the right role models and inspiring people for you, people you want to become like. And that helps you shape and build a brick day by day on what you want to become, who you want to be for the future.
Yeah, so bringing back to what you said earlier, we live in a culture that believes in suppressing women's voices, and we have this thing where there's a fear of judgment from especially us, the women in South Sudan in general. So many things hold us back from doing what we love, from just being ourselves as women. And I've mentioned this in a previous episode. It's a pattern. Okay, you notice this in each family. There's the mother, the child, you notice the pattern of low self-esteem from the mother. It's the same pattern in the child, the female child. But what you notice in the father is going to be the same pattern you notice in the boy. So I just want us to amplify that. Let's put a magnifying glass on this, our culture and how it holds us back as women, because this is a podcast for the South Sudanese girls.
Yeah.
And we want to bring out the things that hold us back as women. Most of us here are privileged that we can speak up. We have ways to speak up. We have people that support us to speak up. But there is someone out there that totally has no way to speak up for themselves. They do not know how to even start. So I just want to put a magnifying glass to that.
I think it's a very, very broad conversation. And of course, one episode from a podcast would not really exhaust what we really need to talk about. So step number one, like you've already started, is engaging in these conversations.
Yeah.
I remember a very, very powerful quote I once heard when I was young from Dr. John Garam. And now it makes sense to me as an adult. He said, what divides is what is unspoken. So what we don't talk about are the things that actually draw the boundaries and the lines for us to grow or stuff like that. Bringing these conversations to light is the first step for us to be able to address them and do something about them.
Yeah.
Yes, we all have personal experiences of what stereotype looks like. First-hand experience of what stereotype is. It's not like an English word that just sounds so fancy and is being used to, to talk about some things, but it's experience from our homes, from our families, from our siblings, our uncles, our relatives, here and there. And it's concerning at how it is underrated. Yeah, because a person is their self-esteem. Sarah is her self-esteem.
It's what defines
you. What defines a person.
Yeah.
What they believe about themselves is who they are. That is their definition. Okay. So if you live in a society or you grow up in a family or you live with people that bring your self-esteem down, then they bring your entire existence down.
Yeah.
Because every person deserves to flourish to the best they can.
Sure.
Every girl, every boy. And the boundaries that have been drawn between girls and boys is also like the most...
It's vast.
It's broad. It's absolutely broad and vast. So it starts from you as a girl. And I told this to myself because as I'm experiencing it personally, growing up in their society, in that family, in that. Of course, not everybody in your family is always going to be attached or believes in stereotype. There is those that are positive and those that are negative. When we talk about parents, of course, it's passed down.
Yeah.
It's not really intentional, honestly
Not
speaking.
really, yeah.
It's just a pattern that they follow by how they've been raised.
It's what they know.
It's what they know.
Yeah.
So they give us what they know. It's the best that they can do for us. But as you grow and realize that this is not actually the best that I need for myself, do something about it, girl. I once wrote a quote when I was 17 years old. I was running a campaign for Plan International. It was called Girls Get Equal. And that really helped me learn a lot of things in the girl-child empowerment space.
Yeah.
And it was 16 days of activism. We had a campaign around Nimule and Torit. We were doing conversations on girl-child empowerment, inclusion, and things like that. So we had a community dialogue with chiefs and elders, I recall. And the conversation was about culture, girls going to school, and how to just have a conducive environment for girls. Okay. And one of the elders I can recall was saying, culture said this, culture says this.
Yeah.
Culture is this in our culture, in our culture. And because it was a peaceful dialogue, I was able to just ask a simple question. Who wrote culture?
Okay.
Where did culture come from? Where is a book that says this
culture
is culture, and it was signed or amended by everybody, and it's a must for us to follow?
Yeah.
Culture is a pattern. Okay. Culture is something that we just accept from seeing how people do it, and then we just follow the pattern, and we make it a culture. Okay. You could break the stereotype, girl. There is no manual. So I really, really always say it starts with you. And I was able to write a quote because I really understood what it meant for me to just step out of cultural stereotypes.
Yeah.
And it says, the biggest problem is not with the stereotypes that rise up against us as women. The biggest problem is in you and I believing in it.
Yeah.
So if today I told you, you're not worthy enough, the problem will be in you believing it and taking it and accepting it and living it. And you say, okay, I'm not worthy, I don't deserve, and this and that. That's where the big problem comes in. So we need to address you believing in what is said about you, because sometimes you might not be able to hold people from doing things or saying things.
Yeah.
But take that initiative, that personal initiative, to block things that don't define you.
I just liked what you said about it's us. The problem is us believing, because there's this concept that our minds are like a sponge.
Okay.
Whatever you feed your mind, whatever you put on your mind, it sucks it in like a sponge. So it may not be conscious. So the more people keep feeding you with negativity, like they keep telling you you're not worthy, you may not consciously take it in. You may not want what someone else says to affect you, but one way or the other, it's going to affect you.
So now all of a sudden your mother tells you, hey, you're not good at this. Yet you know you're good at it. In front of her, you'll be like, Mom, I can do it. I'm good at it. But inside you'll be like, yeah, Mommy knows me more than I do.
Yes.
So what do you think in that context?
We grow up in these homes where our own mothers are the ones that are down talking us.
It happens.
Yeah.
Where our own mothers are the ones saying you're not worthy enough, you're not beautiful enough. And you're being raised in a mindset of, you're loud, who's gonna marry you?
Yeah.
Do you know what that means? That means my entire life and existence stands up to a marriage.
Yeah.
That means there is nothing better I can ever achieve in life than get married proper.
Yeah.
You get? That statement alone is heartbreaking.
And it stays with you.
It stays with you for life.
That's the sponge concept.
It becomes the sponge, exactly what she said. It becomes, oh, I should cross my legs because who's going to marry me if I don't?
Yeah.
I should not be loud because girl, be loud.
So now, like, in that context, what can really one do about it? Because it's really hard.
When you go through such experiences, you wage a war in the inside of you.
Okay.
There is a light and there is
There's a
darkness.
darkness.
I think this is a personal experience. I don't know how other people went through this.
Okay.
But you believe, like, there is something inside of you that tells you, my entire existence, of course, doesn't just rely on simply marriage. I'm not a good cook. Girls, we can't all be good cooks.
No, we're not caterers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I don't cook well. That means nobody's going to marry me, this and that. But I think I found my breakthrough in other things.
Yeah.
Other passions, other things that burned on the inside of me, like my career and my faith as well.
Yeah.
Because as a faith-based person, the Bible has no discrimination for any gender.
That's right.
And Bible says, I know the plans I've had for you. And God says He knew us from when we were born.
Yeah.
And our faith has an uplifting grace.
Okay.
Even in the midst of all your challenges, your atrocities and everything. And if something doesn't hurt you, if I told you today that you're not worthy and it does not hurt you, you're like, yeah, I'm not worthy, then of course
That's okay.
it's fine. But if it hurts you, that means you believe there is worth.
Yeah.
And that's why there is pain when you are being deprived of your worth.
Okay.
And you wage the battle. But you have to take the choice, of course. You have to take the choice to either believe or not believe. So I think I've always been fighting battles. I fight back. I'm a fighter.
Okay.
Like, I'll be told you're not this or you are this, but I'll fight for what I believe myself for. And it's not going to be so soft. It's not going to be roses in a beautiful garden for us as women.
Thorny.
It's going to be very thorny. It's going to be very rough and very rocky. There's going to be high hills for us to climb. But of course, if you want to get somewhere, if you see and believe that you've got to get somewhere, you have to fight that battle.
With all this that's been said, the question begs, how do we maintain or how do we build our self-esteem?
You have to go through challenges for you to become confident.
Sure, okay.
You're not going to wake up and find your way easy in life and feel confident. You have to challenge yourself, or you have to be challenged by something and make it through. And when you look back, you're like, I did that. I went through this. The storm didn't take me down. So we have to accept the challenges that life comes with. We have to stand still and strong. Of course, it comes with a number of things. Personally, building confidence for me part of it was practicing self-love. And it's so unfortunate, but fortunate to say that I started practicing self-love in 2023. So I was 23 years old and I started loving myself. I realized that all this while I was born and raised and growing up for 22 years, I didn't love myself. I was living in survival mode.
Fixating.
And in 2023, I started practicing a self-love journey. That was a transformation for me.
And I'm sure any other girl out there, this is the same thing you have to pick for yourself. Love yourself.
Absolutely true. So self-love sounds like being selfish, but it's not. It's not. It's discovering yourself thread by thread.
I think I can be a testimony for that.
And embracing
because
it.
all the time my friends be like, "Are we not a priority?" I'm like, Anyep is my other half. I love her so much. That's how it works.
True. And when you practice self-love, there's a lot that comes to it. You learn to prioritize yourself. You learn how to confidently set boundaries. You know how to say yes or no. Sometimes we tell girls, your no is a no, your yes is a yes. I think we've gone through this in high school where they tell girls, learn how to say no. But if you don't love yourself, you'll never say no because you assume people are a priority.
In what ways can celebrating achievements, big or small, contribute to self-confidence?
Perfect. Celebrating yourself is an amazing thing because it means you understand where you come from, or you're understanding what point you're coming from and what point you've been able to move to. And clapping for yourself even when people don't clap for you, that is self-love. That is believing in yourself. And that is accepting that I've made it to this point. I give myself a round of applause. I deserve to be celebrated. And you want to do more. It helps you like, okay, today we did this. But of course, we want to do better.
Can do better.
We want to do bigger. We want to achieve much more. So it's really important for us to celebrate oneself, even if the world did not celebrate you.
So in other words, the catalyst to building great self-esteem and confidence is self-love.
Yes.
To me, you love yourself?
Period.
Of course. I'm my number one fan.
Absolutely.
That's perfect.
Well, she has said a lot. Self-love, of course, but like I also said, you need to surround yourself with the right amount of people, what energy you allow them bring to your life, because that energy can bring you down or it can elevate you. So basically it's self-love and the people around you.
I think I would add that knowledge is power. For a woman to be confident, you have to fill yourself with knowledge. When you want to stand in a platform confidently, you must know what you're talking about. You must know what you're doing. You must have that skill that if somebody tried to outlaw you, you're not shaken. So it's going to be arrogance if you don't know what you're talking about, but you want to be confident. Yes. So let's not mistake arrogance with confidence as well. And when you don't know, you're never going to be confident enough. So building your skills and capacity, investing in your knowledge, investing in your mindset, that is a power boost to your confidence. Imagine standing or sitting in a platform and you know what you're talking about. Even if you spend nights and hours studying and doing whatever it takes for you to be able to excel in that topic or conversation, do it. So investing in your knowledge is very, very important to build your self-confidence.
I'm a book hook, and one of the novels I came across, I quoted something, and it really helps in my daily life affairs. We only do well in areas that we are confident in. So I just like, do you know anything about that? If you don't, don't touch it, baby girl. That's how it works. So as we come to the end of the podcast, beloved viewers, we are going to look into our guest to give us a conclusion with a very awesome question that I believe is going to benefit your life as a young girl. So, Mrs. Sarah, what would be the last message you would pass to young girls out there who are looking for ways to boost up their confidence?
Wonderful. The whole conversation we've had is more like a summary for girls to boost their confidence,
That's
self-esteem,
right.
and things like that. Of course, self-love, mentorship,
Okay.
the right circle of friends,
Okay.
and investing in your skills and your knowledge, believing in yourself that you can and you will, attaching yourself in the right spaces, environment, of course. If you're in the wrong space, you're not going to flourish. I was doing physiotherapy. I couldn't do nothing when I was there, so I had to shift the environment that I was in. I had to shift the career. So
Okay.
choices of your spaces to be in, all that contributes to building your confidence, to your self-esteem, your
That's
creativity, and who you are as a young woman. But one thing that I don't want to leave this place without mentioning is reminding us young women to remain attached to our values.
Okay.
There is a quote that has become cliche for me because I say it everywhere, every time, but it was life changing for me. It was life transforming. And if it changed my life, then why not say it every time to somebody?
Yeah.
I always tell it to my siblings. And I was once wondering why Martin Luther King said education is to cause one to think critically, but character plus intelligence. That is the true goal of education. So I was like, oh, Martin meant character first, not intelligence first.
Yeah.
So women without character, your skill, your knowledge, your
It
whatever
means
is
nothing.
nothing. It
Okay.
means nothing. You're going to be another woman tearing other women down. You're
Yeah.
going to be another woman causing destruction in a society that only needs to be built.
That's true.
You're going to be another woman that's just adding burden to the society when we actually need to uplift the society and other
That's
women.
true.
So character, like whatever you do, make sure your character goes in advance of you.
Okay.
When people speak about, I'm not saying you should be perfect, you shouldn't be an angel. You're going to make mistakes.
Of course.
You're going to have flaws. There's a lot of things that you will get to learn along the journey, but be intentional about being a woman of character.
Okay.
And your values, your faith. Remember, it's not just career alone. Your faith, your skills, your talent, your character. I always emphasize on that. And whenever I really, really have the chance to speak to girls, I always remind them to be women of character.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, for me, I'd like to read this quote. It says, when you value yourself and the contributions you make to the world, you're going to be much more likely to treat yourself kindly and to make life decisions that are in your best long-term interests. So let's take that as a mantra of some sorts, remind ourselves to value our contributions to this world, because little bit by bit we bring something into this world, and it's important to value whatever it is we're bringing into this world, that it is something positive, and we should learn to love ourselves for that. So thank you for joining the Sot Banat Podcast today. It was nice having Sarah Atoj with us today. So tune in next week as we speak on another topic and bring more and more powerful conversations to you.
We stay enjoyed for the Women's Month. Nice day. Ciao for now.